What's happening, Unlimited Mags fam? Lab here, Skiddy here. Welcome to episode 1 of the Unlimited Mags or the Unlimited Mags podcast. I mean, we kind of will name it later, but for the most part, is the Unlimited Mag podcast. And in this episode 1, at this title, it's talking about mags, family, just movies, anime, games, shows, some of the different conversation pieces you can come to expect from the channel, or to give you an idea of how, you know what I'm saying, the pod will just kind of flow. And it's essentially an easy conversation between Skiddy and I, right? It's kind of like a collaborative piece of side content we have envisioned here on the channel. You know what I mean? If you're a regular viewer here and you kind of been follow along the channel's growth, then you know what I mean, you get a vibe from some of the videos we put out. You know what I mean? Like Skiddy's did some top 10 gaming Johns, like the Capcom John Skinny. That's actually taking off too, man. Like
Yeah,
that,
bro.
that's actually doing better than I thought it
I
was.
wasn't I wasn't expecting it to, take off like it did. But, there's a lot of people that, like us want to see some good games and
Yeah,
these present gen
mostly.
systems.
I mean, mostly the Capcom Johns. I mean, they really want to see the Capcom Johns, like
Yeah.
especially the
Yeah.
Capcom Johns. We ain't gonna talk about the one you supposed to put out. Y'all just gonna have to.
Not yet. I'm
Y'all just
I'm
gonna have to
almost
wait.
done. I'm almost done. We about to get that on. We about to get
Right,
that. We about to get that in
but
because
but
I'm examining the games,
right,
making sure I get the way I want them to be remade out. You
right,
know what I mean? Because I mean, some of them could be could be good as they were. Like for instance, we'll take it Streets of Rage. You know what I
right,
mean? Where they still kept it as a side scrolling beat 'em up type game. They just changed the animation, changed the graphics,
right,
and it's still fun to play. So
right. Yeah, nah. I mean, Streets of Rage. There's a couple of Johns. I mean, again, I ain't gonna disclose the list, but I know we talked about it
yeah,
behind the scenes. But even the Sony John we did, bro, like that John was hot too. Like we
oh
there's a
yeah.
couple of bangers, especially part one. Like especially
Speaking
part
of
one.
one of the games, and it's funny, one of the games that you mentioned, Twisted Metal, has a show on Peacock. I
Right.
ain't,
Yeah.
I ain't check it out yet.
That's
I
got
ain't
y'all
check it-
that's got y'all boy Anthony Mackie on that John.
Yo, so I'm gonna see what it is. I ain't gonna front. I'm gonna see what it is, just because I love the game back in the day.
Right.
So
You also love your boy Papa Doc, Anthony
oh no,
Mackie.
no, I wasn't. No, 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 I wasn't. No, I was
Bro,
never.
I
I
will
was never
say,
a Papa Dot fan.
so I thought about us doing a trailer reaction on it. It's a series, right? Like it's a series.
Mhm.
So I mean, as it falls under our show category, again, fam, this podcast kind of like highlights some of the different topics we're gonna follow. And as the name of the channel, the Mags part of the channel and title for our first episode, I thought it was appropriate. It's movies, anime, games, and shows, but like Twisted Metal, I mean, if it look good, we'll follow it, right? Like one of us will do a review.
I mean, I'm just doing it off of GP.
Right.
I'm gonna check it out off of GP because again, it's Twisted Metal. Like,
And it's Anthony Mackie.
I mean,
Your boy Winter.
I mean,
It's your
I'm not
boy Captain America.
saying. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad actor and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Anthony
Nah,
Mackie's definitely got a good range. Definitely
right,
got a good range. Um, but I mean, it's all video game or cartoon that goes into live action, or like I said, video games that go into live action. When we hear those names, we're like, oh, we when we were kids, we will always imagine, oh, what if they made this? What if they made that? Into a movie. And
right,
now it's like the kids are now grown up and they're making their movies.
right,
Now, I'm not saying some of them movies is good. I'm saying is that they're getting a chance to tell their stories, which
right.
is interesting.
I
So,
mean,
but
so you're gonna watch. I mean, have you seen? Did you see the clown? Right, like what's his name from Twisted
uh,
Metal? The clown. Uh,
uh,
what was his name? I can't even think of his
was it
name.
Sweet Tooth? Was it
Sweet
Sweet
Tooth,
Tooth?
right? Yeah, Sweet Tooth.
Was it Sweet Tooth?
Sweet Tooth. He looked good at the end of the trailer. Like I'll say, like Sweet Tooth, the visuals, it looked all right. I don't know Twisted Metal as a
You
show. I don't
know,
know, I don't know what the content really like. how's it really going to flow or bounce? But I don't
Well,
know. It looked
in
like
Twisted Metal,
Sweet Tooth looked all right. Sweet Tooth looked all right.
Twisted Metal. I mean, it's a versus game. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And remember, we discussed this, amongst ourselves, where fighting games, uh, battle royal games, they have a story, but people don't really play for the story. They play for the action and gameplay and stuff like that.
Right.
But the stories are enough content. If there's some people that do pay attention to the stories in fighting games. That's why you got uh, Tekken. Now you got a few
Got a
animated
movie.
Tekken. Got two movies. Ugh.
Oh, bro.
We're not even gonna talk
It's got
about that.
two of them.
We're not gonna talk about that. But that's the thing. They have stories in them. Like I know, if I'm not mistaken, um, Sweet Tooth, he's more like I guess a gun for hire.
Sweet
If I'm
Tooth.
not mistaken, yeah, he
I
was more like a
guess.
gun for hire. If I'm not mistaken, I got to
Right.
go back and check out the story because every individual had their own individual
That's your boy.
story, or why they were participating in that.
And remember, so I said that when we did I said that in our Sony Classic remake drawing
Right, right, right.
when I included Twisted Metal, and I was like, yo, so like I said, like we need a remake for this drawing because each of the characters had their own build up, like had their own story, which
Hmm.
led them to participate. And it's like I said, essentially the Hunger Games for cars. You feel me?
Right, right,
But like
right.
it did have a dark story because remember each character had like their own little introductory, you know what I'm
And they had
saying?
their own little ending too.
Or they had their own right, they had their own ending.
Mhm.
So it was all like unique. It was fire. So I mean, like I said, it look all right. It looked good. We'll probably
Yeah.
I mean we'll review it.
I'm just
We'll
I'm
see.
just interested in what story they're going to tell. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's my whole thing. Like I
See,
wanna I wanna know how they flip this.
Skitty, but look, family, look at Sweet Tooth,
Yeah,
bro. Like, look, you can't tell me that look hot. Like, I
it
know
was
it was
all right.
brief, but look at your boy. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Hold on. Look at let me see if I can
So it's definitely a mask.
right, yeah, it's definitely a mask, which I always imagined he did wear, but I can't really get a
Well,
good
now remember in the game he had like it was his face and his head was flames.
right.
So you know what I'm saying? But I mean either way though, I want to see how they made it into a realistic state. I want to see what they
Right.
do with it. I want to
Like
see.
it's like
Remember, the story got to be solid. If it's not solid,
right.
then
Which is a perfect segue on to I mean, how family or I mean whatever we settle on, but I've been saying like fam, but it's funny because if we get a future like Twitter name or something, it might say like the real Unlimited Max podcast acronyms like Trump, but that's different.
oh
That's
no,
a different whole.
no,
That's the acronym. It's TRUMP, the Real Unlimited Podcast. I'm just saying.
oh
But
man.
the Real Unlimited Max Podcast. But either way, family. So me and Skitty, there's one thing we agree on. Anytime we mess with a movie, especially if it's a comic book drawing, or especially if it's like time traveling, which that's going to be a whole nother podcast. But
Mhm.
especially if it's like time traveling, at the end of the day, when we review a movie, it's like, all right, the story's got to be solid. Like, and by solid would mean it has to, for the most part, make sense. Like it has to have some form of film continuity associated with it. Here recently, I mean, I'll take it and Skitty tell you, I'm a DC self-proclaimed DC fanboy. I said it in that top 10 movie video he did, right? Self-proclaimed
Mhm.
DC fanboy. But Skitty, you know, I had problems with that Martha scene in BVS too, or I had problems
Oh
with
man.
Bruce and Bruce and I had problems with Bruce and Clark fighting so early on in their lifespan. Like I had so many problems, excuse me,
I
with BVS,
mean,
although I messed with it, like the story wasn't solid. Like it
it
just
was
wasn't. It just
it
wasn't solid.
was it was again these are people telling their stories, but again it has to be solid. And what they do, and this is not just with DC, this is with Marvel too. I love these movies. I love the entertainment value of these movies. I love the action of these movies.
Right.
But sometimes the story just be like they take away the core of the character that made us fall in love with those characters and just rearrange them. Don't get me wrong, they fit that universe, but is that universe solid?
Right.
Like for
Right.
instance, back with that BVS, like Batman just automatically thinking Superman is the bad guy,
Bad guy. Right.
like off top. You know what I'm saying? Like off top, he's not doing no investigation.
Right.
He's the number one detective. How the
Right.
how
It's
does Batman
it,
not use? You know what I mean? Like
right. Like no, I mean, just trust me. Like I know, like most people pointed this out with BVS, and I fully agree. And this is somebody who how much I rock with Batman. Like how much, or how
oh
much I
yeah,
rock with DC altogether. But especially how much I rock with Batman. And I'm like, this whole thing could have been avoided if Clark would have just took 20 seconds and just be like, yo, Bruce, chill. Like, Lex is trying to manipulate us into fighting. He has my
that's
mother kidnapped, you know what I'm saying? But no, he just went in, and you just go back and you watch that scene and you're like, yo, the whole thing probably could have been avoided, or the whole reason why they fought really just didn't make sense. It just wasn't solid. And that really hurt the movie. Here recently, I look back and remember you and I was talking about rating movies, and you
mm-hmm.
at first gave Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a 10 out of 10, which I'm like,
No,
I
I
know
gave
that's
I gave it a
that's a
nine.
little
I
cat
gave it
first,
a nine.
and that's
I gave
still
it
a
a
little too
nine.
high. But at first you said 10, but 9 out of 9 is high. But like I'll
Yeah,
say with BVS, it's barely a 7 out of 10. It's hovering somewhere between a
yeah,
6.5, 7 out of 10. I mean,
yeah.
Guardians at first glance, I'd say it's probably somewhere
I
between a
say
7
I
out of
give it.
10,
No, I
at
give
least
it
a
an
7 out
eight.
of 10,
No, I give
or
it an eight.
maybe I mean maybe even a solid 8. But
Guardians 3, I give it an eight.
what would you
Solid.
give? What would you give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Now remember in your
Two,
Guardians, yeah, two,
two,
in your Guardians
six,
3 review, remember
six
you
point
you said
five.
it was trash. You
Six
said it was
point
trash.
five.
6.5.
6.5. I didn't.
Uh,
I didn't like. Out of all the things that could have been done, like come on, Super Pac Man, we're not. We're not. We're no,
so what
no.
about the first Guardians
It,
then? What would you give the first
oh, the
Guardians?
first Guardian,
Obviously,
I would give it. I would give it an 8.5. You know what I mean? 8.5. You know,
that
the only
sounds
reason
about
why I'm
right for the
saying
first
8.5,
Guardians.
you know what I'm saying? I say 8. I
Eight.
say 8. I say 8. I say it's on. I'll give that an 8 and give Guardians 3 an 8.5. Because, like I said, I've never been emotionally attached to a Marvel movie. Like,
Right. I mean, but
emotionally.
what about Endgame though? I mean, not Endgame, Infinity War. I think Infinity War really again
Again,
that Tony
I've
that
never.
Tony Stark and Peter Parker scene, like
Again, I've never been emotionally
hard.
attached to a Marvel movie. You know,
Right.
and that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at it, and my thing is that again, when I'm looking at the movie, we're looking at the whole snap. How it led up to the snap, kind of pissed me off, and that's what messed up for me because Star Lord loses his focus, gets mad, lose concentration. He grabs the gauntlet. You know what I mean? Like it was that's Endgame, right? Or is
That's Infinity War.
that's Infinity War? Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
that's when
like
they was fighting on on,
I
on the
was like,
moon
are
and
you
fighting.
serious? Like, you know,
I
they're this
mean,
close from getting it.
right, but like
That was just
I'm saying, I listen. I gotta give Thanos. I mean, I dig what you're saying, but I gotta give Thanos credit there. I mean, he knew exactly what Peter Quill's response was going to be,
oh
and that's
yeah,
just really Thanos being a
oh
tactician. You feel
yeah,
me? Like he knew
yeah.
exactly what like trolling him was going to lead to him breaking his control. But in all honesty, Peter started it first by asking him, "Where's Gamora?" Like it was
Yeah,
never the plan to find out where Gamora was. The plan was to get the
to get the
gauntlet
glove
off
right.
Thanos. But
Oh yeah.
that's not enough. I mean, I still think the movie story in Infinity War is solid. I just hate that they tried to gimmick the audience or manipulate the audience by thinking that, all right, these people really ain't coming back. Like they all died. We're not going to see them again. But again, Black Panther was scheduled to come out. You feel me? After Infinity
Mhm.
War, so we knew he wasn't like dead. Dead. Like we knew they were coming back. Now, what really, I mean, messed me up was Endgame with the whole mouse in the van joint, bringing Scott Lang out of the quantum realm. But other than that, that's
Mhm.
where Endgame story kind of get me, and the fact that it was like a time heist. where they stole the Infinity Wars, and it kind of just mucks things up from there. But I mean, still, quickly on the subject while we talking about it, I mean, you gave Guardians, so Guardians 3 is like your highest rated out of the trilogy, but I would say for myself, the highest rated MCU movie probably still, especially non-Avengers movie, still has to go to the Winter Soldier. I
Oh,
say
off rip.
like the Winter
Off rip.
Soldier, especially as like a non-Avengers drawn, the Winter Soldier, like you said,
That's
off
not
rip
even a debate.
still fire. Which in the Secret Invasion video I'm gonna do, I'm kind of going to talk about the Winter Soldier because we can clearly see like some influence or some things that's been borrowed from the Winter Soldier that's going to make its way over to Secret Invasion. But I got a big
Right.
gripe again because Secret Invasion is going to be nothing nothing like it was in the actual comic book storyline. They can't do it simply because off rip, like it starts off with the Illuminati pretty much telling the Skrulls that, look, don't come close to Earth. I mean, if you come close to Earth, it's pretty much going to be on sight. Like, you feel me? Like, that's what the Illuminati told the Skrulls. Like, told them if you even come by Earth's atmosphere, then it's on sight. You feel me? So, like, clearly we're not going to be able to have that, even with Noah Moore or Namor, your boy, being introduced in the MCU. We still don't have everything else. But like, I mean, I'm talking about it in Secret Invasion because look at the Marvel slate, and I maybe have to bring it up here. But if you look at the Marvel slate after the Marvels, I know a few of the joints got pushed back because of the Writers Guild of America strike, but we had Fantastic Four, Blade, you feel me? And Captain America, New World Order. Like a few joints where you kind of like intrigued, but you don't want to get your hopes too high. And again, even with Avengers Secret Wars, like if you look at who's going to be in it, like I'll bring it up here in a second, but if you look to see who's in it, it's going to be nothing how like it was in the comic book storyline. Like I don't know, what do you think?
I mean, as far as the excitement of new Marvel movies coming out, with the recent ones, with the exception of Guardians 3 and Black Panther 2, okay, all of Phase 5 that got me excited or that I liked and appreciated. I appreciated Moon Knight. I appreciated Guardians 3.
I still gotta watch Moon Knight. I'm not even gonna hold you.
I appreciated Black Panther 2. Got a hate-love relationship with it, but again,
Black
I
Panther
appreciate
2?
it. Yeah.
Like Wakanda Forever, it was all over the place. I don't know. It's all over the place. Black Wakanda Forever is all over the place. I mean,
Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I appreciated to a certain extent. And the reason why I appreciate it to a certain extent is because the Baron Zemo that we should have got in the fucking movie, we got in that show.
Big
like,
fact.
Come on. Like, again, taken away from the core of the character of what we fell in love with or what interested us in those characters and then changing them completely. Because ain't no way the Baron Zemo that I know, and other people who read Marvel and
I think you might have froze up there a minute, bro.
Okay. Yeah, those the people who know Baron Zemo ain't fitting to kill himself.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely that was one of the issues I had with Civil War. Civil War could be great, man. Although it was great. I mean, I think the whole Captain America trilogy is underrated as hell. Like it really is. But speaking of Avengers and all that, I mean, if you look at the cast, this is Avengers Secret Wars, right? Which again, where it puts all the main Marvel characters on that battle world space, that battle world planet where they all had to like fight, work together.
But it's also so far too, because they still probably got to add people too.
Still, this is the top cast. Like, ain't nobody. This is who you gonna get. There is no I mean, if Robert Downey Jr. was making an appearance in Secret Wars, bro, he would be confirmed top cast. Same thing with Chris Evans. Like, no way would he be like under Iman Vellani, which no disrespect to the young actress. Again, I think Miss Marvel as a show was some of Disney Plus's better content, if you will. It's not really saying
Yeah,
much if
yeah,
you
I
consider the
appreciated Miss
shows,
Marvel
but
too.
I think
No,
Miss Marvel,
no,
right? Like, there's a certain level of
she
appreciation.
made me tolerate Kamala Khan even more. Like
Right, like
we
just the
gonna be
whole
real.
idea.
Like
Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, the whole idea of Kamala Khan, like, it just made it say like, all right, that's not too bad. But I mean, look at the top cast. Yeah, you say like that could change, but who else are they really going to add that could make it interesting? That it still wouldn't even come close to the Secret Wars comic line, right? Like,
I
not
mean
even close.
again,
Like, it's gonna be something totally different. Like,
I
Captain
mean again,
America, Iron Man was in that storyline.
I mean yeah, no, you're right. But I mean we got to see who they coming out with. You know what I mean? We
That's
know
the
they coming with the
thing.
Fantastic Four. We know
Yeah,
they
but
coming out with what was the one that you just said? Well, we already know about the Marvels, but no, it's something else that they was coming out with. Blade. But
Blade, right? Which,
remember,
I mean,
we
we hyped
still
for.
we heard about Black Knight. We still in the wind with Black Knight. Um,
But
I'm hearing rumors about Silver Surfer coming.
I know, but you know the rumor. You know what we say about
Yeah,
rumors.
rumors ain't. You know what I mean? Until we get the confirmed,
Right,
confirmed.
right. Rumors are
Right,
rumor until proven otherwise. But like,
right.
I'm just
So,
looking
but
at
I mean, I
who's
just
in the top cast now, and it's not no disrespect again. I mean, I like Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye. That's another underrated show. People can say what they
yeah,
want. I think
yeah.
Hawkeye was all right.
Hawkeye definitely was
Yeah,
a lot better than anticipated.
it was.
Definitely.
Had the girl Haley Steinfeld. She's good. Played Kate Bishop.
Yeah,
Paul Rudd. But I mean, speaking of rumor, I mean, this is a highlight here. Rumored, rumored, rumored.
yeah.
I mean, like, again, like, even the folks who are rumored to appear in the Kang Dynasty, it's not even really major players. That's why I'm
Right.
like, I mean, I might have to stand corrected when I had said that the Secret Wars might be Marvel's Nexus level event where we get a way to introduce new characters, but in a comic book, or not new characters, bring those characters back that we've grown up with the last 10, 15 years. I mean, they killed off Tony Stark and retired Captain America, honestly, dog, when like the story started getting better, when like when they became cosmic, right? Or they became off planet, you know
Off
what I'm
world.
saying?
Yeah.
So like they did that. Scott, move your camera up a little bit. You can't
Uh,
adjust your camera. See, it's like, oh, there you go. But
mhm.
um, like it changed Battle World in the comic book line. It merged the Ultimate Universe with the main line Marvel Universe. So it's like, are they going to do that again? Probably not.
But but
You know what I mean? It
remember,
don't look like.
there's in total three different Secret Wars. You know what I'm saying? You got the one that came out back in the '80s. Well, the two that came out back in the '80s, because there were Secret Wars one and there were Secret Wars two, where the
Right.
Beyonder formed himself of the many different parts of different heroes. And then you got three, which came out some years back, which basically killed off the Unlimited universe,
Right.
the Ultimate universe. No, Unlimited. Unlimited or Ultimate? One of the U's.
I want to
It killed
say
most
it's
of
the
the people off.
Unlimited because in the Ultimate Universe, my understanding is the Ultimate Universe gets blended. You feel me? With
Right, right, right.
the main universe. All the Ultimate characters get blended. Get interloped or mixed in between the major
Okay.
MCU or the main comic book line story, so the main comic book line universe, not necessarily the MCU. But
Right, right, right.
I mean, again, when you think of an Avengers movie, especially for you and I coming up, I know a lot of younger viewers out there, like a lot of you whippersnappers. I don't know if people still say
Yeah,
whippersnappers,
whippersnappers, old people.
whatever. Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay,
Old people.
all right. I ain't gonna say what year we were born, but all right.
I mean, I'm old, but I ain't old. I ain't
It don't matter.
whippersnapper old.
Yeah, but you are whippersnapper old.
I
This
say
guy,
youngin.
this guy. But I mean, it's hard to imagine an Avengers joint without the Avengers we've come to know and love. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
It's crazy.
hold on. You know what I mean? Now, it's I would say the Avengers of the MCU that we've come to know and love. But
Right.
remember, there's other Avengers out there. You know what I mean? It's just like how I'm wondering how DC is going to incorporate the Justice Society thing. The one they kind of hinted at the end of the Shazam movie, the latest Shazam movie,
Right.
and also what they incorporated in the Black Adam movie. I'm just saying.
Why you gotta do that for? Why you gotta do that
Cause
for?
man,
I
my
swear
gripe
you
with
put
that.
your tongue was Marvel logo red just then. It's
Oh,
all
you're
good.
funny. You're funny. It wasn't
Yeah,
Marvel logo red.
yes,
It was that movie was.
it
I
was
mean, I'm
Marvel
not
logo
again.
red.
The action was on point. The story, but I just didn't like the inconsistencies of some of the characters, man. Like, come on, man. Like one of my favorites, Doctor Fate, Kent, my boy Kent. He
He
was
looked good
strong
though.
enough. I mean, bro, he was strong enough to hold back the rest of the Justice Society. Like,
Right.
no, I don't want y'all fighting with me. I can hold him.
Right.
And strong enough to fight Sabat on his own.
He was losing.
And then he was also strong enough to put a pause on Black Adam in the beginning of the movie. And he telling me he couldn't put a pause on Sabat? And I'm
Nope.
like, what? Fate?
Nope.
Nabu?
Nah, trust
Getting
me,
wrecked?
that movie had a lot of problems, man. If I'm gonna keep it a buck, and this is no disrespect to his fans out there, but The Rock, Dwayne Johnson,
Oh, man,
pretty much
yeah.
sabotaged that movie from the get go. So this is reported that he actually prevented the director from using the likeness of characters from the first Shazam movie,
Yeah, that was
and
dumb.
excuse me, and like he blocked them from using the likeness from the Shazam characters. He was actually supposed to be the main villain in the Shazam movies, but he wanted his own movie. He took that out. So I mean, all the way down to the post-credit scene was supposed to feature Shazam and not Superman stepping to Black Adam or the Wizards making their way, but Black Adam wanted nothing to do with that. Hands down, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, sabotage, nearly killed. I mean, yeah, a lot of people say the DCEU as a cinematic universe was kind of, hanging on a thread because, you look at the lineup, there's been almost more misses than hits, or there have been more movies that have put out that have been more divisive than anything else. So, I mean, you look at the lineup of movies from there, and it's kind of like, yeah, you kind of get weary anytime there's a release. But Black Adam is a movie that was long in the making. Remember, Black Adam was announced in like 2015 or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was
that.
years.
Like it was a
Yeah,
minute ago. Like it was announced a minute ago,
yeah.
and
A
that's what we
hot
got.
minute ago.
But Dwayne the Rock Johnson, your boy, right? He kind of sabotaged it and really messed it up, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It was a
like when I
bad
heard
taste in
about that,
my mouth,
man, I kind of yeah, that was like that just again people taking characters, taking their core, tossing it out, and putting something else in.
right?
That's the key point. He was so fixated on wanting to be the anti-hero that Black Adam is now, rather than going back to the beginning of what made Black Adam into an anti-hero, from
Right,
villain to anti-hero.
right,
And that's what he should have done. It could have been done, but
right.
people want shit their own way, and
Right. So like Dwayne the Rock Johnson wanted Superman and Black Adam to be the future of the DCEU, which for most comic book fans, especially DC fans, we know that really doesn't make much sense when Black
yeah,
Adam is a heavily associated,
with
villain or rogue
Shazam. It
with
would be no
Shazam.
Shazam without Black Adam. Like I
With
mean, it
Black
would be
Adam.
no Black Adam without Shazam.
Either way you
That's
slice it, bro.
yeah, like that's
Either
that's
way
the
you
whole
cook it.
thing.
Either way you
They
cook
got
it.
the same. They got the same exact power. The same exact power.
But I
It's just
will
that.
say, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, no,
Uh-huh.
no.
All right. I will say that like you said, you were interested to see how they blend the Justice Society with, how they ended Black Adam and Shazam too. But in all honesty, I don't think it's going to go anywhere, right? In my honest opinion, I don't think it's going to lead to nothing, because the Flash movie, June 16th, bro. June 16th. Let's see if I get the air horn. That
You
might be a
funny.
little loud, but June 16th. June
I would,
16th is where the DCEU is going to change forever. And that's happening with the Flash. So I really think that everything that's happening up to this point is going to like change this guy. Do it again, bro. Do it again. You look
let's
cool.
hope.
You look so
Let's
cool
hope.
doing it. Go ahead,
Let's
man.
hope.
You
Let's
need
hope.
you need your Marvel
You
tinfoil hat
already, you
on.
already, you
You
already
need your
know.
Marvel
You already
tinfoil hat
know. We've discussed this before. You know what I'm saying? You
on.
know,
You need
No Way Home. No Way Home was supposed to be that movie too, but
Who said it
it
was
went.
supposed? It was supposed to be Marvel's Nexus Level event?
Well, not
No
Nexus
Way
level
Home.
event, not
Right.
Nexus
It
level
wasn't.
event,
It
but you
wasn't
know what I'm
supposed
saying?
to change it. If anything, cats thought that was going to be Multiverse of Madness. Maybe I thought it was. I thought maybe like whatever happened in Multiverse of Madness, it's going to shake. It's going to
Yeah,
shake up the MCU a bit.
I thought that's what it was going to do too, but it
Right. Like
surely didn't.
it didn't like at all, bro.
It
At
didn't.
all. It didn't really do it didn't do none of that. And there was some severe repercussions had in there. Like Shorty Wanda dream walked to a whole nother universe and killed off like the Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? And like that should come with
Don't even get me started on that.
some type of consequences. Look, Skiddy and his feelings. I bet he won't talk about it though.
Don't get me
Look, I
started
bet
on that.
I bet he
Don't
won't
get
talk
me
about it.
started on
What
that.
would you give
No, don't do that.
what would you give
Yeah,
Multiverse of Madness? Hold on. What
I
would you
would
give
give that.
Multiverse?
I would give. I mean, 6.5,
Out of
7.
10. That's what I was saying. That's being forgiving.
Reason being, again, the action. Action is on point. You know what I'm saying? The visuals. I love what's it? Was it Raimi? Was it Sam?
Yeah, Sam Raimi.
Sam
Yep.
Raimi, I'm an Evil Dead fan, so
He said Evil Dead fan. He ain't say Spider-Man. He ain't say Spider-Man 2
I
or
mean, I like Spider-Man
Spider-Man
1, 2,
trilogy.
2,
Yeah.
and 3. But you know what I'm saying? Raimi's known for. He's known. That's where you got to start though. Evil Dead, right? Ain't that?
But still, like, yeah, you got that.
Because that's the vibe I got from Multiverse of Madness, was like
Right.
an Evil Deadish type.
Right. Like
feel.
he had some horror elements in there. I think that's part of
So
the movie that worked really well for me in Multiverse of Madness was some of
yeah,
the
yeah.
horror-based themes that Raimi had pulled into the comic book verse. I like when comic book movies deviate and do that. They tried with New Mutants, it just didn't work out, right? Like
They tried.
it
They
did
did.
it was executed properly. So
Mm-mm.
because the execution was flawed, the movie like was didn't fare well. It wasn't a bad movie if you go back and look at
No,
second watch.
I did. I watched it. A
Yeah,
couple weeks ago.
right.
Just because what happened was when I first, when you first watch a movie on TV, like you got so much stuff you're doing, and then
Right.
you're like, oh, what happened, or oh, maybe I need to go back, and then it's like, you know what, I'll just watch this some other time. So
Right.
yeah, it's not a bad movie, but again, core of characters, putting in something else.
Sound effect is epic, bro.
You know,
He got his
but
own soundboard, bro.
but it's just again, New Mutants. That was definitely a big. It is a disappointment a little bit because the characters in itself, like there's so many that they're missing.
That's gonna be the problem with Secret Invasion.
Like a whole another
Secret
thing too.
Wars. But what you got?
What I'm like what are they gonna do? Like they only got they only announced 2-3 movies. That's four Secret Wars that's leading up to Secret Wars. Blade,
Fantastic Four, and I think all those joints got pushed back before Secret Wars. I'd have to bring it up.
Blade definitely got pushed back.
Yeah, Blade definitely got pushed back. We talked about that.
It definitely got delayed. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. Like they can't put their energy into getting this movie out too. That was long announced. First of all, we are long overdue for a Blade remake, like a
Oh hell
Blade
yeah,
reboot. Then
hell
nothing
yeah.
against Black Panther 1 and 2,
No,
but
no.
big facts. They could have brought us a new Blade back when that popularity was high. And you know what I mean? And we wanted representation, and we wanted more. We had representation in comic book movies, but we wanted modern representation in comic book movies. Like Blade's been
Yeah,
around since the
yeah,
'90s, but now
yeah.
that it's popular and a little bit more mainstream, now is the time to bring Blade. I mean, cool, you brought Black Panther, that's cool, but
Oh
you
yeah.
could have bought them both, because I mean, who wouldn't want to see Black Panther and Blade you know what I'm saying, like team up? That's a dynamic
That
right
would be
there. That's
fire.
crazy. That'd
That'd be fire. Yeah,
that'd be straight up
that'd be
fire.
fire.
But we talked about it. MCU has a problem because how are they going to introduce vampires? Like, this is what
Yeah,
I'm really curious to see with Blade, is how they
because I
introduce
mean,
vampires. You feel me?
well, I mean, I don't know if Morbius is going to be part.
No, it's its own universe. Remember, so at the end of
Well,
No Way Home,
go
Michael
ahead.
Keaton's Vulture was transported to a whole new universe. He was
Right,
transported to the SSU, into the Sony joint. So it's like
right, right,
the
right.
Morbius joint. He's on a whole
I,
different universe.
well, remember though, he had they did he did mention some things. You know what I'm saying, like he did, the little trick on the dude in the store where he was like, "I am Venom." He's like, "No, I'm a doctor."
Yeah, and
You know.
guess what? That part was
So
cut out from the movie. they, s-
no, it's in the movie.
I thought that part was edited out of the movie,
No,
dog.
no, it's in the movie. It's in the movie. It's
You tired.
when he's in the store.
It shouldn't be
Uh,
anyway, even if it
I
is.
mean, it's supposed to be part of that universe.
It
I'll watch.
shouldn't be in the movie. It's cap, man. It's,
So
it's BS, and you know it.
I
It's BS,
mean,
you know what they did.
well, no, well, no. I just know that it's going to be interesting how they incorporate vampires. Nine
Yeah,
times out of
because they
ten,
ain't talked about it. It's gonna be a
nine
big
times
plot
out of
hole
10, yeah, it's going to be something where kind of like the Eternals,
Oh
where they've been
man,
there, where vampires been there,
the whole time,
forever.
none of them
I
got
mean,
blipped.
but remember that was Blade's story in itself. You know what I'm saying? Vampires were already there. They blended in. They had control of governments. They had pacts with humans and high figures. That was a part of Blade's
Right,
thing.
but they
Now,
also
incorporate? How are they going to incorporate that story into the MCU? That's what we need to find
right, that
out.
remains to be seen, because that's fine. They might have infiltrated the government, in high places or what have you. But like, keep it a buck. First of all, vampires can't go out in the daytime, so
Right, right.
they got a big handicap. They could put on sunscreen lotion, but that melts, so it's not like a definitive way to move like a daywalker. But to
Yeah,
imply
yeah.
that this whole time in the MCU nobody has noticed vampires, like there's
Like
not even
no
been a
big, yeah.
mention on, at least even on Moon Knight, there should have been a mention of vampires. Like, there should be, like, if vampires are feeding, then how are they hiding it? How are they covering up that people are getting bit on the
Well,
neck? You
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying? And having blood.
remember,
You feel me?
remember the original Blade movie, you know what I'm saying, and comic book, they had little secret houses, shit like that. So again, it's just how, like, what are they going to, like during this whole thing, during the snap, what were they doing? Like,
Right.
what was
That's what I'm
going
saying.
on?
That's
Like,
why that's why it's not going to be solid. You can tell it ain't going to be solid.
we'll see what's up. I mean, like I said, I'm still, I want to know. But I'm not like, ooh, excited. You know how we was excited for phase one.
We'll never, dog.
We'll
We'll
never get
never.
that
Well, I
excitement.
don't think we'll get that hype
That
again, dog.
excitement will
They have
never
to.
be high,
To be honest
especially
with
with
you,
all that. Go ahead.
sorry to cut you off, but to
Mhm.
to be honest with you, it'd have to be like in the form of them just straight up saying, "Yo, we rebooting everything." Like, we're rebooting everything. I'd be like, oh, okay, I'm hyped for, all right, let's go Captain America retelling, Iron Man retelling, like, started off appropriately, you know what I mean, connected. Not like, oh, let's build up on this idea. Not like but again, they can't do it because you know who Marvel's biggest villain is, right?
Oh yeah, that right shit,
Right. Hold on, yo. Let's give
man.
Scotty a round of applause. He got it right.
Man, that right shit, dog. That I was over there looking up. We'll never get a Neymar single movie.
Nope,
Which again,
not
that's
even
why
a
I have a
Hog
love
drawing.
hate. That's why. Oh yeah. What
Not even a
Universal
Hog drawing.
Studios is like? What
And the Hog
Universal
drawing
Studios? They like gotcha, bitch.
and the Ed Norton drawing was all right. The Ed
Yeah, it
Norton
was
drawing
alright.
was all right.
It was
That you know what I
alright.
mean, they kind of blended it between it being canon and not being canon. They kind of straddled the fence there. But the
Yeah.
Ed Norton drawing was all right. Like Hulk can be all right as a standalone movie, but yeah, it could be an even better movie when you have characters that can enhance the story from the MCU or even say other X-Men. Now, that's another
Like
thing that I could.
I would have done that. Like
What's that?
had
Like
had like a Hulk versus live action
Hulk
instead of like
versus live action,
yeah, like you know what I mean, during the beginning, like in
right?
introduction with Hulk. But again, that licensing shit can't
It's
do that
you
shit
can't do it.
because
It's
they
gonna
don't
mess it
own
up.
characters. Because like remember the first appearance of Wolverine was in Hulk. That was his first. That was Wolverine's debut in comic books.
Right,
Was Hulk? He was sent to go stop the Hulk, but he couldn't. Had to fake his own death just to Hulk to walk away.
right.
So, but again, they couldn't do that because when it comes to this movie right shit, they don't own these movies, which
Nope.
is bananas to me,
So,
man.
hey, man, they had to do what they had to do at the time.
Yeah,
It sucks, but that's just the nature of the beast. But the fact of the matter is, you know, what I mean, as moviegoers, as comic book fans, and comic book movie fans who've kind of come up during the last like or phases 3 through 5, right? If you were young, if you like 18, 19 years old now, I mean, you missed out. You were very, very young when classics like Captain America 1 came out or Iron Man
right,
1
right,
came out, like
right.
back in '08 or something like that. Like you might have missed out on the core message and how to truly appreciate the originals and why you understand when we tell you look at the Secret War, you look at the Secret Wars and look at the cast, and it's like hard to not see a Iron Man or Captain America. Yeah, we got Thor. I mean, that's great and all, but Love and Thunder was like sus. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I think Thor: Love and Thunder might be one of the worst MCU movies to come out like all time. Like at one point, some would have said it was Thor 2. Ironically, here we go. Thor movies is like, can they not get Thor right? But some would say it was Thor: The Dark World, but I like Thor: The Dark World. I didn't think Thor: The Dark World
Yeah, I like
maybe
Dark World.
classified as one of their worst. But if you look at what was out up to that time, I wouldn't say it was the worst, but if we had to give one of the Marvel movies like the worst, bill of sale, it would probably be Thor: The Dark World, especially up to that point or up to that time because we were getting bangers
Yeah,
put
I would
out
say
at that time. At that
at
time,
that
right? Like
time.
at that time. Now, I mean, that might be debatable, it might be
Yeah,
arguable, um,
yeah,
as far as what might be the worst. But I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder just has so many problems with the movie beyond the story. The story wasn't solid. There was no god butchering going on. How my man's pick up the sword right there next to the god who's giving him like an exposition dump, telling him, "Hey man, you know what I'm saying? This sword, I almost got killed by this dude because this sword has the ability to kill gods. Let me just tell you about it." And then the sword is coming up to him and he stabs him. Like the story is flawed, and then the CGI was straight trash, straight garbage. I know the movie got slack for that. But Thor: Love and Thunder, and I unfortunately seen it. In that I seen Thor: Love and Thunder in the movie theater. Unfortunately,
yeah, yeah. I've
like,
seen it. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to give it like maybe a 6 out of 10, and that's still being real forgiving because a lot of parts just had like a lot of silly them going to
It was
Ompotent
more a
Silly
comic. It
City.
was more a comedy relief. My bad. It
Right,
was more comedy relief.
they wanted to be
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy, but Thor. Here we go.
yeah,
Like Taika Waititi tried to, you know, copy the formula from Thor Ragnarok, put it in
yeah.
Love and Thunder. It's like he took the Guardians of the Galaxy formula and added a little Taika to it, and then you got Thor: Love and Thunder. You feel me? But you mean you look at the movie, it's just one of their worst entries here, especially in the last 2 phases, man. Like I was just looking over the movies that came out, and I'm like, here in Phase 5, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, still probably one of the better movies to come out so far in this phase. But I mean, that's not really saying much when you look at the ones that have. I think
That have
Multiverse of
already
Madness
came.
was a little bit of a letdown, which story got like a little weird too, the further
Mm-hmm.
along you got in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I don't know. Well again, these movies, y'all, these movies we're going to review. All right, we'll
Yeah.
like have more conversations about them along the way on the podcast. But I'm the Secret Invasion. That's the next piece of Marvel content that's scheduled to come out. Man, we got to talk about it. We will review. It's going to be a 6-episode miniseries. I'm going to talk about it too much here because I do plan on talking about it in an upcoming video I'm going to publish here on the channel. But it's the next biggest piece of Marvel content that's scheduled to come out, and then you got the Marvels that's going to come out here a little bit further along down towards the end of the year. And now I don't know why people saying this is going to be Nick Fury. Last time we see Nick Fury, and I'm gonna mention this in that video, we see boy in the Marvels trailer. Like he's not
Mm-hmm.
dead. Rather, that's the Nick Fury or not. Obviously, we're going to watch Secret Wars and find out. But we're going to see him again in the Marvels. Now, after that, we really don't know because we don't have, no trailers. Do we, Skiddy? Like we ain't got no trailers. We don't know what Blade's been in production for a minute now. Now
Like
it's
I
just
said, there's
hell.
a whole bunch of stuff that, and remember, there was also something that was announced that Marvel canceled an unnamed project. Like, so what unnamed project did they cancel?
Right,
Because remember, Black Knight was put on the map.
right.
You know what I
Maybe it
mean?
was Black
Even if
Knight.
so,
Maybe it was
maybe it was Black
Ironheart.
Knight, or maybe with. I mean, remember unannounced.
Right.
Ironheart was already announced.
I guess.
So
Well, I mean,
you know
so
what I
why?
mean?
Where's the hype around? Where's the energy, or why are we giving energy to a show that wasn't even announced? Then you feel me? Like I dig what you're saying, but true. Like
So
why?
I
If they
just
ain't announced it, why do we even care that they're gonna cancel it?
right, right.
Typical Marvel nonsense, bro. It's crazy.
So I just like I said, man, they got plenty of characters,
Right. Yeah, they got a
but
lot of they got a
but
lot of
but
material.
for real, and I think we talked about it before. Like I'm kind of sick and tired of like the combined universe thing.
Right.
Like one or two heroes in a movie
Right.
playing off of each other, I could see that. But for real, because a lot of these, and this goes back to when I was watching the Justice League Unlimited cartoon,
Right.
and looking at the wide varieties of characters that DC has. And I'm like, man, there's so many characters that could have their own individual movie. Like one, I was telling you about. I sent you that message. What was his name?
Who?
The no face dude. The question.
Oh, I don't.
Like, what is his name? The question.
I don't know, dog. I have to bring it up.
The question.
It's
He's like a conspiracy theorist type hero,
and
but
it's
he
in
be right.
maybe what?
But he's right. But he's always right. That's the crazy thing.
His name is the question. I think you're right because uh yeah, I got hold on, I'll bring it up. I got it up right here for you, homie. Hold on. I'll bring it up for you. Not that. That's what we're gonna talk about that next. Um
Okay.
but no, I can't. It won't. Hold on. Nah, but go ahead, you're talking about the question,
But
like what is
yeah,
he gonna
but yeah, like
oh
he's
like he
like,
get his own movie?
he should have his own movie.
Hmm.
He should have his own movie. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of superheroes that had their movies
Right.
that aren't even known like that. For instance, The Shadow.
Right.
Well, one of the what is it? What are the brothers? The brothers, the actors. They had a hold on the 80s and the 90s.
You gotta give me a little something.
Come on, Scott. Baldwin, the Baldwin. He played the
Okay.
Shadow. The
Okay.
Shadow. He was one of those. Um, heroes, comic heroes that were on that was on like the newspaper.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Billy Zane did the Phantom.
I remember that, John.
Which wasn't a bad movie.
That's a whole. You're right. We got to talk about that.
It wasn't a bad movie. You know what I'm saying? Especially the fact that it was back. It was back in the early 1900s Phantom. Because remember, there's different Phantoms.
About that.
You know, they don't know about the power of the 10 tigers. They don't know nothing about that.
That's a whole other pot. They don't.
But yeah, there's so many heroes. Like for Mr. Terrific. For real.
I mean, in my opinion, he might be better off with a show, right?
Most likely, yeah.
He'd be better off. Like if you look at the Mr. Terrific that was on the CW, he was
the Arrow. Right. Yeah, he was alright.
Right, like he was on Arrow and Flash, but he was alright. I mean, given his like how just his dynamic, how he's like a scientist, he ain't got no powers. There's like conflict in between that, you know what I mean? As far as him like getting like anybody like the Flash, it's hard to catch the Flash off guard because boy got he keep his with him at all times. You know what I mean? Right. Like it's hard to catch him off guard with somebody that's terrific and Batman. Just saying, but Batman's always prepared and ready for everything. But
like the rumored Green Lantern movie coming out.
Right.
You know
exactly.
The having two heroes instead of just one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Green Lantern. That's another one that need to be rebooted, especially since especially since DC was like, nah, we not canonizing the Ryan Reynolds drawing. Like it's not canon in any way, shape, or form. That takes place like at its own thing. But again, there were issues with that movie too. I more so did not like the suit. We talked about it. I mean, I'm kind of bouncing off the subject or the movie, but it's still relevant to the conversation because they did the same thing to the suit that they did with the Nick Saban's Power Ranger drawing, and they like completely took and butchered it. And we talked about this in our reboot talk when we was talking about RoboCop, the RoboCop reboot. I mean, again, they changed how he looked, and it's like, for what, man? They could have took a classic look and just maybe modified it or enhanced it.
Clipped it out a little bit, yeah.
Because you look at the Power Rangers, Forever Once More or Always and Forever, the drawing on Netflix. And they still got the classic.
They got the classic.
Right, they got the classic costume. So it's like, why couldn't
that was a little bit hard to watch? That was hard.
Yeah, I mean, I tried.
I watched it. No, I watched it in full. I watched it in full, but it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch.
Skiddy got to do a review.
It's hip hop keto time. I died, dog. I died. I was like, oh, are you breakdance fighting?
Yo, so reports came out that Jason David Frank had turned down the offer before his unfortunate passing. He turned down the role to come back, man, to the Green Ranger, just like the Pink Ranger. She had came out and said that she didn't really tell him no. She just kind of told him, come with a better figure, and how she didn't want to spend time away from like her family and stuff and like recording. But she said Jason David Frank knew about it and turned him down. He had no interest in coming back and reprising his role as Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, probably one of the most popular Rangers out of the whole Ranger.
I think that's why they had that crappy story.
Right, like I couldn't even mess with it. You talking about a story, dog? Like I didn't even make it that far. He watched it for Skiddy watched it for the story.
So
like,
basically, they killed Trini a long time ago.
No, I made it that far. I saw that. I saw the little flashback they did with that.
Jason, Kimberly, and Tommy all get captured by Robot Rita.
Right,
There's a new Rita, Robot Rita. Right. So she gets captured because she needs their power to go back in time to, I guess, inform her younger self. That was the plot.
Here we go with that time traveling, man. We got.
But my thing is that. But my thing is that, like, how you going to like capture the two strongest Rangers in the whole? I mean, the Red Ranger and the Green Ranger are supposed to be like the top dogs. You know what I'm saying, in the group at the time. But that's the thing though. Like, you just capture them, and then it's like, you watching people in those suits, and I'm like, you look at the Pink Ranger and you're looking at her, and then you look at her in the suit, and you like, is that a dude? You be looking.
You gotta look, and maybe it is, man. Maybe their stunt
Yo,
doubles are, maybe
I
their stunt
definitely
doubles
think
are men.
because it's crazy, dog. Like to
Maybe they
see
men.
them, and then it's like you can see why the dude that played was it St. John.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Bull's chunky. You can't fit in them suits no more.
They like in their 60s, man. It's
You
crazy
know
that
what I'm saying?
they even brought him back like that. But
I
I
mean, the
get what
fact
you're
that
saying.
Billy and you know the dude Billy and the bull Zach, they can still move like how
Right.
they move. That's still like
Yeah,
some
they were
good
still
stuff.
yeah, they were still getting it in. It's just again, it's just a little too late, man. We maybe would have wanted that right around the time they did the Nick Saban joint. I mean, in the green and Jason David Frank, we knew he had starred in a couple of the Bat and the Sun joints. You know what I mean? In the versus joints where he fought Ryu, one of your
Don't
favorite. That's one of Skiddy's
don't
favorite. That's one of
don't
Skiddy's
talk
favorite Bat
about
and the Suns
that.
fights.
That was
We're
so. You know what? You're
we're
not
not,
even gonna get me
we're not,
started. You're not
you
gonna get
know,
me started.
I'm trying, but
You
that's all right. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. We'll save it. We'll save it.
yeah,
I see what you.
that
It's all good.
bullshit. You
It's all
got it.
good.
You got it. You got that
It's
shit.
all good. But yeah, it was maybe a little too late. We should have been got, a Power Rangers reboot and the Nick Saban joint, man, could have been better.
Well, see, we got one though, and it was forever. What there was like a Rangers Forever Jones, where
I,
Tommy did come back as you know the Green Ranger, but there
I
were
was
other people that came back as well.
I
Like,
was more so talking about the Nick Saban joint.
oh
That
well,
was supposed
oh
to start off like a whole. It was supposed to be like a whole new franchise. Like we were supposed to get more than one Power Ranger, and that came out what in like 2014 or something like that.
oh
20
no. What I was talking about, like old Rangers come, like how the show,
right. Oh, okay, yeah,
the show came out. There was another show years ago, or if
right.
I'm not mistaken, around the time that the movie came out.
Okay,
And it was a Power Ranger show though. It was one of the newer Rangers, and you know how they have those shows every so often where it's like they grab all of the Rangers. They need all of the Rangers from
yeah,
all over,
yeah.
and it was one of those. It was one of those, and he was on there. He was like one of the main heads because he had his helmet off on some of the stuff. So I'm like, I'm thinking it was more so the story
Right.
that not just a figure. I think it was the story of them trying to going back and changing years of continuity. Because remember, Adam, Trini, and Jason left
The
in the show. Now there's Power Rangers the comic book,
right,
and then
which I
there's Power
saw
Rangers the show.
the
You know what I'm
shows.
saying?
Right.
Now in the show, Trini, Jason, and Zach, they all left. They all left to do some like I think it was some like international whatever thing because that's when Adam, Rocky, and was it Tanya or Alicia? Alicia. Was it Alicia?
I can't. I didn't mess with it.
Because
Oh, you.
because that's when they had the Black Yellow Ranger. I'm trying to think which one was it Tanya or Alicia? They both black.
No.
Because I know one of the Black Rangers, when they went back in time, she stayed back in the past in Africa, and the girl that was in Africa came back in the future with them. Alicia was the first one. Okay, Alicia was the first Black Yellow Ranger. So yeah,
Okay.
that's when Adam, Rocky, and Alicia came on to fill their spots because they were part of that ninja tournament that was happening in Angel Grove. And then
So
after that, yeah, but how like they come back. That's why I like the story. I was like, so Trini, Jason, and Zach left, but when you go back to this Netflix joint, it's like, hold on, so Zach stayed.
right.
Like the story
There's
wasn't solid.
there's so much more. I mean, again, that's where it goes. It goes back to our general rule of thumb, where the story has to be solid, and we're going to hold reboots or remakes alike. I mean, we're going to hold them to how well the story was represented, if you will, because it's almost always
Right.
presented to us in a different way. If you look at RoboCop, right? Like, you know what I mean? It was totally different
Mhm.
from the classic RoboCop.
Yeah.
Just to name a few. I mean, again, that's a podcast title for, a future episode. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, again, a reboot or remake. The story has to be solid. But speaking of reboot or remakes, we'll jump onto a gaming topic here. I mean, this is something me and Scott had talked about behind the scenes or off camera, but that Mortal Kombat reboot, dog. I had saw something that kind of got me hyped. I don't really mess with the show. I mean, I've been wanting to, but they saying that Homelander and a few characters from the boys are going to make their way into the reboot, into the new Mortal Kombat joint. But this article is
That would
from
be fire.
that would
That'd be
be
fire.
that would be fire. Just paraphrasing here from the article though. I mean, I give it. I don't know. Can you see it, Scott? Could you read it, or you want me to read it?
Oh, you read it. You read it, because I.
So the next entry in the Mortal Kombat franchise, the 12th overall, is reportedly set to deliver a reboot of the franchise. So Mortal Kombat is getting a reboot with, technically it's the 12th mainline entry into the game, but I mean they're calling it Mortal Kombat 1, which is not it's not a remake or a reboot, kind of like what we had originally would say one should be. Like, give us Mortal Kombat 1 and redo it, but with like modern graphics, animation, all those kind of things. I mean, Mortal Kombat has changed so many times over the years since 1 through
Man,
12. But I mean, here it looks like we're getting, and look, don't even get me started on this movie. That's another one of Skiddy's favorite movie.
what?
That Mortal Kombat remake. On the subject
Oh,
of how remakes can be
oh, I thought it
can
said
change.
rebirth.
No.
I thought it said
Okay,
rebirth.
that's cute. That's cute. Be cute.
Okay,
Be cute in front of the mirror. Be cute in
I
front of the
don't,
mirror.
I know about Mortal Kombat Legacy.
This was
I
your
don't know
John. You big up Mortal Kombat. You said this is one of the best martial arts movie that was ever came out. That's what you
Now I want you to look directly in the screen, because I'm looking at you, and
said.
I want you to say that again with a straight face, because I have said my opinion about that
this
Mortal Kombat
this
movie
the
over and
article says
over and
this
over.
wouldn't be the first franchise reboot, as the last one happened back in 2011. That's the joint you was talking about
Yeah, Mortal
when it was
Kombat.
reboot, right?
Right.
But of course they had the game launched in 1992, was busting 72 million sold. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. All we got on the new Mortal Kombat. I mean, it's likely going to release PS5, Xbox Series XS, PC, and Switch. Oh, look at that, Scott. What do we don't see? Are we finally seeing a time where we're saying goodbye to the PS4 and the
PS4
Xbox
and the
360?
one.
I mean, all right. Well, we should have. I mean, if you're still on the Xbox 360, man, bless your heart, family. But
Yeah,
we don't see an Xbox One and
I haven't seen a
PS4
360.
in
I
a hot
haven't seen a
minute.
360 simple shoot. Even in GameStop. I went in GameStop the other day. In the old racks, you know how you saw the old racks, the $5 racks and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
It's
ain't
all
see them.
Xbox One and PS4 stuff.
Yeah,
You
it's like
don't
they
see
kind
no
of phasing them out. But
360.
we'll see how, we'll talk about this when we get more on it. Right now, the only thing that's out is a teaser for it with a clock that ticks down from 9 to 10 to 11, and like the article says, skipping to 12 and going straight to 1. Which again, this is where all the journos and all your internet YouTubers like me and Scott here, that's where we're getting the idea that this is going to be, Mortal Kombat 1 and they rebooting it, starting over. I wonder if they're going to
Yeah.
use time travel like they did in the 2011 one. Remember on that one, Raiden used time travel to try to switch
Or
up the storyline.
or they could just tell a completely, fresh story. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
saying?
nice.
Just another new entry. Like,
Right.
just this is Mortal Kombat 1. This is how it began.
Right. Like start over
So,
from, like we talked about, go to one of the first, like let's see
well,
the origin, or let's see the
there.
history of the tournament itself. Like, you know what I mean?
Remember what I was telling you last night? Yeah, we was talking about this last night. Uh, I would want to see where they lost their first tournament.
Right.
Where they lost their first tournament, because remember, they have to lose 10 in order for Outworld to come over to conquer.
Right.
10 in a row, matter of
Right.
fact. So it's like, who were the previous that I'm gonna be honest with you. And yes, Ed Boon, you hearing it first. Unlimited Mags, you heard it here. Here, Ed Boon, boom.
Adjust your camera and get your
Oh,
shit
matter of fact, let me. Boom, Ed Boon. Midway, anybody else who got their hands in Mortal Kombat, you hearing this first. WB, Warner Brothers. All right. So now we got that out the way. No, I'm not hating. You know what I'm saying? Because I want them to hear this. So basically, I would want to know about the tournaments that happen. Again, like I said, the one that led up to Liu Kang. You know what I'm saying? Like the original Kung Lao, the original Shaolin monk that was talked about in the old Mortal Kombat cartoon little short John called Mortal Kombat, The Journey Begins. You know what I'm saying? Like the Shaolin monk that fought Shang Tsung with his eyes closed. Like, come on. You know how much concentration you gotta fight somebody with their eyes closed?
I bet it makes it.
Oh, you're funny. But I'm just saying though, like, that story and that little CG fight was good back then. Imagine what they can do with something with telling that story now in its full state. In its full state. I want to go to the first tournament that they lost.
So that'd be fire for. I mean, even as a game, I mean that works. Even we should have got that in the Mortal Kombat reboot. But again, we'll save that for that podcast episode. We'll talk about reboots. There's a couple of them that need to be big up, and there's a couple of them that need to be put down. Family, like real shit. If you look at Dune. I'm sorry, Dune. So I kind of watched the first Dune, and I still think the modern John is better than the 84 John. I will say what they did with the 84 John, I give them credit for trying to blend the book in one movie. It still felt like long and clumsy. But in this John, that's why Steve, I think his name's Steve Villanueva, he broke the book up. Like he tried to break it up into two different movies versus trying to tell the whole book. And
like what they did in the Sci-Fi Channel stuff.
Right. And that's why people say they like the sci-fi miniseries more than they like the 1984 Dune.
Yeah.
I'm watching the 1984 Dune, John. I'm like, oh, okay, no way. Oh, my man, dude try to ride the worm in this joint, or he does become the more deep.
That's what I'm saying. They did everything in one movie. So
so it felt like a little dragger. There were still things that couldn't fully be touched on. But I like how in Dune, in the remake, right? You know, they did it well, and I mean, Dune being one of those reboots that worked out well. We talked about it, like Godzilla is another one that worked out well. But then there's a few that we know we're going to talk about, and then what makes reboots good. But that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother pod. We'll save it for. But what do you got on the anime front, though? Give us some anime fire. What you got for us?
Man, I've caught up with Demon Slayer, just like I was wondering and anticipating and hopeful of how they were going to make the Sasuke versus Itachi fight, how they were going to animate it. I'm definitely hands down looking forward to seeing Saitama versus Monster Garu. Like,
oh, that's the One Punch John. For those who don't know, you got it, man. You gotta let it. You gotta school him. You gotta game him up, man. Everybody might not know where he come from. What's the name of that anime?
What, One Punch?
Yeah, they don't.
One Punch Man. Saitama. I mean, for the viewers that don't know, Saitama, his name. That's his name. The cartoon anime is called One Punch Man, and it's it was supposed to be a spoof. It was supposed to be a rip on superheroes that are written ridiculously well.
Why he had to pause there? Be all weird about
it. Ridiculously written well.
We ain't gonna say no name, Homelander.
Superman.
We ain't gonna say no name. Here he go.
Batman.
Here he go. I'm not going down this. I'm not doing this with you on this pod today. I'm not doing it.
So basically, One Punch was written as to make fun of superheroes.
Right.
But the action and the story in itself is so catching and so solid, even though it's like a comic relief. Like there's one scene where he's fighting this ultimate evolution monster, and the monster is saying that basically he can go on for weeks, that he can fight, basically forever, for years.
And this is what
Other
Saitama
heroes,
can
huh? What you
Saitama
say?
can fight. Saitama
No,
can fight
no.
forever.
Oh no, he can fight forever, but it was the monster that was saying that. He was saying that to
Uh,
Saitama. And
uh,
other heroes would think, oh man, let's not. I don't want him getting destructive. I don't want other people getting harmed. You know what
right.
Saitama is thinking about? He's
What?
thinking about missing the sale from his grocery shopping.
Right.
Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna miss the sale. Boom, one punch.
Right. So he is down to earth. I mean, I mess with it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's another anime with really good art style and visuals that I gotta say, but like they really is dope. Like I mess with it.
he's
You know what I'm saying?
he's basically, again. Oh yeah, that's Monster Garu. Yep,
Yeah, I
getting
mess
ready.
with it. Again, it's the
But
art style I mess with. You know what I'm saying?
he's like right there. It's like he's playing. He was an average guy. I think he just got fired, or he didn't make an interview,
Right.
and something happened where he just decided to be a hero for fun. So
Just
that's
because
where,
my man
if you
signed
ever,
up to be an Avenger just because.
just because,
Just
and then the
because.
thing is that he trained himself so hard. So one, Genos, which is the lone cyborg, that's his. He deemed himself Saitama's student. um,
Wow.
he damn, I got a brain fart.
He caught up in that. He caught up in that one punch hype.
I know, yeah,
He
I
caught. I mean,
know.
I'm looking at the season 3 teaser. Like this John look fire. Like I
Well,
might need to
no,
get
this
caught up and
is
jump into it myself.
that what you watching right there. Well, yeah, that's the season 3 teaser, the one with
Right.
Monster Garu. But before, the dude with the one eye, that was the first season. That's Boros.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's Lord
I
Boros.
might need to fall in so I can fall into the anime part of the conversation. But fear not, though, fellow fans or umpians, umpilipians.
Olympian,
I,
Olympian. What?
umpilipians. I heard we going slices. I mean, we plan on having more guests and everything come on to the podcast. You know what I mean? But all good stuff. All good stuff. I mean, anything else you want to add, Skitty? On the anime on the
Um,
anime segment. I mean, we'll have a whole probably on the podcast because we don't cover enough anime. We'll probably
yeah,
have a whole anime segment for you to get the people caught up.
definitely,
You know what I
definitely.
mean?
There's some
And
hidden
get
gems out
inspired.
there. There's definitely some hidden gems out there. Kimono Jihen, that's another one out there. This kid, he's basically like a demon, and he has this stone that kind of keeps him human. And these other demons want it. Now, I'm not going to get too delve in it because there's some other anime that I want to mention, but that's another one, Kimono Jihen. Check it out. Fire Force only got 2 seasons. I'm so mad, but the story, like, don't let the look of Fire Force fool you. When I first saw it, I was working at Walmart, and I look over and I'm like, they got a firefighter anime, like firefighters for real,
It's fire, kind of like the
man.
action you put everybody on to. Remember in your top 5, y'all. That's a video. You're gonna be able to find that here in the card section. So here
Mhm.
on YouTube, even here on the podcast, hold that thought, Skid. Don't deviate from it.
No, I got you. I
Hold that
got you.
thought. But here on this video, y'all, either in the description box down below or right on the lower portion of this video, you'll see recommended videos. And Skitty did a top 5 anime you should be watching in 2023. And one of those anime was the Axeman joint that I was getting ready for you to kind of touch on a little bit, Skitty.
Chainsaw
I'm
Man.
sorry, yeah, Chainsaw Man, right? Like, talk about that
Mhm.
joint because, like,
Oh
kind of like the
yeah,
firefighter joint you talked about. Like, it might be unorthodox and
yeah.
unique, but like, don't sleep on it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
Chainsaw Man, that's a yo for real. And
and the chainsaw,
I'll say it again. I said it before, and this is coming out right now.
here it come.
Chainsaw Man is the greatest anime out right now. Period. Hands down. Argue with your mom. I don't got that shit to do. That's the story is solid. The animation is solid. The action is crazy.
One day.
The only other anime that I would think that's on the level of Chainsaw Man right now, it would be
Okay.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay. I'm not familiar with either one of those guys, but
I'm gonna cover that one too. That
y'all
one,
heard
that one's
y'all
going,
heard it.
that
Y'all
one's
heard
going to
it
be
first here.
on another
Just
list.
just
So
don't bring
yeah,
just don't bring your mama because Skitty gonna argue with her. And we
I
record
said no, no, no.
we
I said
recorded
they
this
can argue with their mama.
we recorded this podcast on Mother's Day. Just saying.
They can argue with their mama too.
We recorded this
Nah, but
podcast on Mother's Day. And Skitty's like, argue with your mama.
argue with your mama
on
for
Mother's
real
Day, y'all. Don't do
on
it.
Mother's Day.
Don't do it. I would tell you, don't do it.
But nah, man. Yeah, yo.
There's a
Yeah,
couple.
we'll definitely.
So
There's a
there's a
few.
couple.
There's a few anime that I haven't touched. There's a few animes that I have touched. I touched Demon Slayer, Mob Psych 100,
Right.
Chainsaw Man, Vinland Saga, which
Right.
is
Villain
another one
Saga.
that definitely, if you like Viking stuff and if you like anime,
Watch it.
you'll
That's
like
funny. You
Vinland
said
Saga.
that. You said that in that video. And again, y'all,
Mhm.
don't just hear about it here in this pod. Go watch that video. There's a couple good. There's some certified bangers we have here as we're growing this.
Mhm.
Me and Skitty, we've grown this channel from 0 to I think we're at like some 70 or 69 subscribers now. So, and we're experiencing some pretty solid growth here. Like we appreciate y'all. Let me give the audience. We appreciate y'all. I mean, a quick round of applause. Like we
We love
appreciate
you.
y'all,
We
but
love
we
you.
growing. But I mean, we gonna talk about a few more animes a little bit here. Down the road as it's part of our branding here as we create our unlimited verse, if you will, our unlimited verse of content where it's all about movies, anime, games and shows. That's why at me and Skate talk about behind the scenes as we plan content and we do a little content strategy planning
Mhm.
about how can we make sure we hover around those topics and try to bring y'all like a fresh take on all of these things that what I mean our culture mess with so many different cultures and kind of be that voice of reason. It's to give you some of the best recommendations. I mean, I kind of like the idea. We're not necessarily here to tell you go watch this movie or don't go watch this movie. I mean, fam,
Right.
you do what you want. Like at the end of the day, it's your funds, it's your money. We're just here to tell you, like, here's what you can expect from the movie. Rather, if you're okay with Skitty dropping spoilers left and right in his reviews, don't worry, y'all. My flash review ain't gonna be a Skitty review. It ain't gonna handle
I'm
spoilers
saying I'm telling it
unless
all. It's like no, let
unless
me stop.
unless it's gonna be at the end with this nut talking about he gonna tell it all. But in
No,
how about do the flash review? There'll probably be like a side A, side B. Like Skitty, I'm gonna see it day one and try to have a review up as soon as possible, and Skinny see it and provide his Marvel take on it because that's all he's gonna do is go in and Marvel up the joint. But it's all
oh
good
my
though.
God,
It's
I'm
all
not
good
gonna
though. I
marvel
can't
up
wait
the
to see. I
joint.
can't wait to see what you say about the Flash movie. But anyway,
I'm
though,
praying. Like I said, I'm praying that it's a good solid film. It looks good. I'm not going to sit up here in front on it. But as we discussed before, when a movie has a lot of delays, it can be the good thing or a bad thing.
right? But
Hopefully,
I
this
want
is a good thing.
you gotta
That's
admit
a,
though, Skitty. I mean, you gotta admit that trailer though. That
oh
Flash
yeah,
trailer
oh
is
yeah.
is
Definitely made my
straight
definitely made
fire.
my hair stand up.
Straight fire. It
Definitely
looks
made my hair
like it's
stand up.
one of those rare instances or scenarios where the delays and all those other things, it kind of seemed like it was worth it. Like you look at the trailer and all the and what we're hearing from the original the original showings or the people who are have the opportunity to see it initially. I mean, they're all saying good stuff. This is not the case with the Aquaman 2 drawing, which you and I both had the same sentiment with DC's Aquaman. It's straight trash. That needs a reboot.
So here's
Throw
another
that
thing I'm
away.
about to
Throw
here's
that
what I'm
away.
another thing about
Go
to
ahead, get your
say.
shit off. Go ahead. What you say?
I don't care. I don't care. DC, you're hearing it from me, and you probably heard it from other people. Jason Momoa shouldn't be Aquaman. There, I said it. He should be the
No,
main
Jason
man.
Momoa definitely shouldn't be. And
Period.
I'm gonna see if we can bring up some fan
Period.
art of Jason
Jason
Momoa
Jason
as
Momoa. should be Lobo.
Right.
Period. Period.
Right.
He fits the character, the main man.
He said the
I don't.
main man. Why you say
That's
that?
what. That's what he is. Lobo, the main man. The main
Nah,
man.
bro.
That's what he
Nah,
says. He's the
nah.
main man, Lobo. That's who Jason Momoa need to be. Not no fucking Aquaman.
Lobo. So nah,
I'm
nah.
sorry.
That what they did with his Aquaman was just, it was kind of weird. But you look at him and this fan, you know what I mean? Just this fan art of him as Lobo. I mean, just
Yeah.
his whole style, his whole concept of acting. I mean, he was all right even in Dune, y'all. He was in the Dune joint
Oh
too. But just
yeah.
his
Oh
whole
yeah.
my man whole style of acting, like it's all right. Like, yeah, he definitely be better suited playing Lobo.
Yeah.
Like,
He'd be
definitely
a
be better off
perfect Lobo.
playing
Perfect
Lobo,
Lobo.
not Aquaman. Like, I'd have been okay with the classic, even if they made Aquaman a brunette, but I can't get behind the first Aquaman. I think the end fight scene when he was fighting Ern on you know what I mean, on top of the Atlantean ship or whatever in the middle of the ocean. I think
Hmm.
that whole drawing was shot like beautifully. Like, that part was dope. But I still think you could kind of produce a better Aquaman when my man here, Momoa, better suited uh as Lobo. You know what I mean? The main
Like
man, that
period.
cosmic bounty hunter. You know what I'm saying? Who, let's keep it a buck, who would also be better suited as a TV show. Tell me I'm
Yeah.
lying. Tell me a
Yeah.
Lobo TV show wouldn't
Nah.
be
A
straight
Lobo show
fire.
would be fire. It
That
would
should
be
be
fire.
fire, especially if they follow the new 52 route and they kind of go with that whole. I ain't gonna spoil it for them. They don't even know, man.
They
I ain't
don't
gonna
even
do it.
know.
I ain't gonna do
Um,
it. But if you want to know a little bit more about Lobo the character, look into his new 52 origin. That's all I'm gonna say. He's been around for a minute, but if you look into the new 52 origin, you understand where me Skinny coming from. We telling you, Momoa will be better suited playing Lobo, hands down, hands down.
Offer.
Aquaman 2, I'm concerned for Aquaman 2. I'm gonna tell you right now, we ain't even had a trailer for it. It comes out in December. We don't
I'm
have
just
a
I'm
trailer.
just looking forward for the villain. I just want to know who the villain's gonna
Dog,
be.
where's the trailer? F the villain.
That
Where's the
is true.
trailer?
I'm gonna get no
Where's the
trailer.
trailer? The movie come
Because the
out.
best because the best thing out of Aquaman one was Black Manta. Period.
Oh, hands down. Your boy,
Period.
that's Yahya Abdul Mateen, right?
Yeah.
Who played
Yeah.
him, right? Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
boy Yahya
Offer.
Abdul Mateen. And
Offer.
nah, you're right. You're right. Black, he looked good. It made me want, actually.
That was the
So
one thing they got right in that whole movie. I mean, I like Ern. Ern.
Ern was good
Ern.
too. Yeah, I think he was
Ern
good
was
too. I
good.
think they got a
Yeah.
good actor to play him and captured
Yeah.
how menacing he was, just like how he was in the Flashpoint Paradox.
Yeah. 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 But I just yeah. Yeah, that just was
Nah,
Lobo.
I
Jason
got it.
Momoa
Yeah,
needs to be Lobo.
he should.
That's it.
Hopefully they reboot him. You know, they'll
Yeah.
reboot the character. They'll keep him around.
Hopefully this Flash movie rearrange something. You know.
Flash movie's gonna be a 10 out of 10. Argue with your mom on Mother's Day.
I'll call her up. I'm gonna call her up and argue with her
Go ahead,
just because
do it,
you said that.
do it, do it,
Just
because
because you said, because you
Flash is
know
gonna be a
darn
10
well,
out of 10. And
man.
and,
Hopefully,
and if I give it
hopefully
a 10 out of 10
hopefully
in
they
my
fix that
review,
run. Hopefully they fix that run.
nah, if I give it a 10 out of 10, I'm gonna talk about it, and I ain't gonna leave out characters like somebody else do their reviews.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, I left out
Talk
Adam
about it.
Warlock
Talk
on
about
the
it.
Guardians
Talk
3.
about it.
And the reason why I left out Adam Warlock is because he really didn't have that much of
He
okay,
ain't do
let me start from
nothing.
it. Let
Nah,
me start
keep
from
it
the
a buck.
beginning. No,
He,
no,
that's the
no,
Marvel.
because
That's
I'm
the Marvel and
yes.
Skitty. He can't get
No,
over it.
no. I'm gonna let y'all know. Adam Warlock is one of my favorite characters. Um, he was known as the living android, and I again, just like I loved and hated what they did with Neymar, I love and hated what they did with Adam Warlock. I really didn't talk about him because it felt like the movie was more focused on Rocket Raccoon than it was Adam Warlock or anybody else for that matter in the movie. Um, Now, there were some people that had gripes about Adam Warlock, and I understand because sometimes he was a comic relief, when he first came out in the comic books, he was a villain. He wasn't really a comic relief. Yes, he was kind of, pompous, but he was naive and ignorant at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
but he
uh,
was. I mean, he's a strong character. Like,
yeah, but remember what I told you. When they take away from the core of the character and change it to something else, originally Adam Warlock is the bearer of the Soul Stone.
right,
His main power was to extract people's souls. He even extracted his soul and separated, which in the comics that's why you got Magnus the villain.
right.
Um,
Magus.
Magus, not Magnus. Hint,
Yeah,
hint.
we're not gonna talk about say that Ixnay. Yeah, brand. They not
but
ready for
um,
that, man.
Magus, which where you got Magus, his evil, the evil side of his soul.
Right.
Um, remember, and we talked about this before with the MCU shit. Like they basically turned Vision into Adam Warlock. That's exactly what that's Vision. How Vision was, with the Soul Stone and all that.
Right.
Adam Warlock.
My
That was
man is
that. So
my man's super strong though. It should have been. I mean, should be a threat that's right along the lines of a cosmic
Adam
threat.
Warlock,
Like
he's one of those characters that should have, for real, he should have got his own movie.
Adam Warlock, but that's what I'm saying. Even in all right, and so even in Guardians, right? They put him in
Hmm.
there. We get a character like him. They put him in there, and then he's underutilized, but he's so
Hmm.
powerful. But like he's
Hmm.
underutilized, and I just wanted to point that out. But like my man's got. I mean, he got for those of you who don't know, you might be like me. You might like who the hell is Adam Warlock? But again, though, he's just kind of one of those, one of those cosmic Marvel obscure characters, one of those cosmic, quantum magic, like it says right here, kind of one of those
Hmm.
metaphysical beings. But like he gets his first Marvel cinematic debut, and it's just again, it's poorly executed.
As a
You know what I'm
comic relief,
saying?
as a
As,
comic relief, and
I mean, like even
that's
as
the
a
thing.
comic,
It was like,
he could have been a strong comic relief, but that's just the Marvel schmick, and especially that's what you
mm,
should come to expect in a Guardians movie, right? Like just like in a Guardians movie. But that's all
mm.
good. That's all good. I'm glad you cleared that up though, because my man
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I'm glad
That
my
was the
man
thing.
definitely
Like I
left
said,
out.
like that was the thing though. It was like if you, like I said, if you go see the movie, you're gonna be like, okay, you're gonna see Adam Warlock, you're gonna
Right.
see, but again, the what, and I can see what they were doing. You're not gonna think like let me get to this too. The origin story that they gave Rocket Raccoon, you're gonna be so attached to it, you know what I'm saying, that you're gonna be like, oh shoot, like again, and I said this earlier in the podcast, I've never been emotionally attached to a Marvel movie
Right.
until
And
Guardians 3. Like, I mean, it's to the point where, like I said, I'm doing this. I look over to my daughter and she's like,
maybe you just saw. Maybe you just
like it
saw.
was just,
Maybe you just soft. That's all. Maybe it's
I'm a
soft.
teddy
Like
bear. I'm not
ain't no
gonna lie.
ain't no guarantee. Just he do say he a teddy bear. Pause. Pause. But all good stuff though, man. So listen, y'all. Listen. That's only been this is episode 1 of the Unlimited Mag podcast. I feel like this conversation we could talk going on forever, but we would like
Definitely.
to keep it, short or as long as we possibly can. I ask you to
And we
bear
got
with
two
us
more.
though.
We got two more though. We're gonna hit two more letters. We got the G and the S.
We already hit the G and the S.
We did hit
We talked.
games.
We did. We
Oh, the
talked
Mortal
about the Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat
Mortal
joint. I
Kombat.
mean, there's
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah,
games we
yeah.
can talk about, but this is to kind of give
Yeah,
y'all
we'll just
an idea of the podcast and how it's going to flow and the format.
movie
I mean, the
shows.
episode
Yeah.
1 was just to kind of give y'all a look on how we view all four of those all four of those forms of entertainment, movies, like Skiddy said, movies, anime, games, and shows. I mean, we're both gamers, we're both avid moviegoers. I like some anime, some casual anime. I might fuck with One Punch, like I might jump into it, right? And the same thing with shows. I mean, I rock with the some of the D plus shows and some other shows that we could definitely talk about and dive in, right? Like we got The Last of Us, we can give y'all, that cultural take on it. But this is to give y'all an idea of how the podcast is going to flow. It's in its initial stage. We may branch off and we may flip the audio like over to Spotify, but for the most part, we are a video podcast based channel. That's why our podcast is video based, right? We also, again, might bring on some guests to kind of give a perspective or an alternative perspective, see what they may think. I would love, like me and Skiddy talked about it behind the scenes. I love to bring in somebody who might be a skeptic, right? Like maybe they don't like comic book movies at all. Maybe they don't play video games at all. Like we want to bring them on and we want to see
Or maybe they don't watch anime. You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Maybe they won't. Maybe they think anime is the worst thing ever. Which there are some people out there, Skitty. You probably heard like anime is like they think it's a cartoon or they think it's for
Oh,
kids.
it's just a
Uh,
cartoon for kids.
right. Like
And then they see a goblin raping this girl and then eating her, and then they be like, "Oh, okay, you want your kids watching that?"
right. A little extreme, but there are some adult level mature anime out there that a lot of people can rock with and jump into.
Mhm.
But I mean that's essentially the podcast, y'all. This is just episode 1. There's plenty of content here on the channel that we recommend you jump in, dive in, give it a watch, either down in the description box below. Subscribe to the Unlimited Podcast channel if you're not a subscriber yet. If you are a subscriber and you've been a part of our growth, thank you on behalf of me and Skitty for being a part of that journey. We not going nowhere. We got plenty of podcast episodes to turn out and plenty of conversations. We plan the next 10 episodes ahead in the future. And of course, there might be some worked in there in between. Plenty of movies that we're going to review. Like me and Skitty talked about doing a segment to where we may re-review older movies and older movies that came out between like 2013, 2014, 2015 that are either getting sequels, modern sequels, or that's maybe get spin-offs or having TV shows branch off. But some of those we're also going to review and talk about, as the MCU itself has been around for what, almost like 15, 20 years now, Skitty, right? Like it's
Yeah.
been around. It's been around for a while now, so we got plenty of conversations to talk about to get y'all up to speed. Our aim is to introduce this media to that younger audience, that audience that's hungry, right? And it's just not all about comic book movies. Again, we got the Fast and the Furious 10 coming out that we're going to do a review on, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the Flash movie coming out, we're going to do a review on that. If it's a movie that Skitty and I both will see, we'll likely do a side A, side B review on it, like his take,
Mhm.
my take, and then we may come together here on a collaborative effort like the podcast and talk about it. But if there's some segments you would like to see on the podcast, maybe some topics you want to see Skitty and I cover, again, we ask you to drop them down in the comment section below. We're a growing channel. Not sure, how the first couple podcasts be received, but in terms of like length and stuff, Skitty, well, we'll just rock with it. We'll just go with it. But I think the conversation
Mhm.
has been fire. If y'all can like this video, definitely like this podcast here on YouTube for us. Help us get this pod out in front of as many people as many
Spread
people
the
as
word.
possible. Right, like Skitty said, spread the word. Let them know, y'all. Skitty and Lab is here. We coming up, man. We try and bring the culture to the platform. We try and bring the culture to the media. We try and bring the culture to just like the overall vibe of just movies. I'm saying that we like them too, and we got a voice in it, and our voice matters. And we're all inclusive community. Everybody's welcome. All opinions and ideas are welcome, even if you think DC is the best comic book distributor here in most recent times. I mean, like, I know somebody over there hating in his living room, but it's all good. But even if you know what I'm saying, even if you think DC is the best distributor in terms of cinema, comic book movies in the cinema,
You're
then
saying the best
then
twice.
bring it.
You know it's not
Stop being
not.
a hater. Stop being a
You said
hater.
you had to you kept on repeating it like you had to drill it like DC is the best. DC is the best. That's what I
This
felt.
guy.
That's what I
He
felt.
ain't gonna admit it, y'all, but I'm gonna end like Skitty is a self-proclaimed. He a Marvel fanboy. That's all it is.
I'm not a Marvel fanboy.
There you
I
go. He
love.
getting
I
defensive.
do.
All right, go
I
ahead and get this shit off
do.
real quick. Hurry up. Get
I
it off.
do like Marvel more than DC, but I like all comics. I like them all, even though Marvel's better. I'm just saying. You know.
Right.
Now DC do got the animations on deck though.
DC always
That,
had animation,
that's
which is another.
that's not even,
That,
that's another podcast. But
hold on,
yeah,
right?
that's
That is because that's also the A in animation. I
right.
mean, we can't leave out animation. Definitely can't leave out animation because the What If John is alright too. So and that got a season 2. So that is something that we should talk
No,
about.
I'm okay. You know what, folks? My bad. I'm going to do a video on Visions, Star Wars Visions.
Mm.
My God, season 1 and season 2, awesome,
All right, there you go.
awesome.
But all right,
So
y'all. That's all I got for this one, y'all. Man, it's been real. We appreciate y'all giving this podcast a listen to. Podcasts are likely going to be starting out either every other week, so maybe like 2 podcasts a month, or 1 podcast every week. But I mean, we'll probably shoot for either a Friday release to get these to get the week to start, so you can start your weekend off right. A little longer form content, but super convenient way to get our thoughts and ideas and share them with you guys and gals in the community, right? So sharing your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let us know any movies, anime, games, or shows you're looking forward to coming out in 2023, or that you may want Skiddy and I to cover here on the channel. Let us know down in the comment section below. But that's all I got. You got anything, Skiddy, you want to end on? You want to share? You want to drop in any extra nuggets?
I will be dropping. I will be checking out that new Baki that was suggested to me a couple videos ago. One of my boys told me, excuse me, one of my boys told me that they're coming out with a new Baki series. So I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. If y'all not familiar, uh, Grappler Baki, that's the original series, and then they came out with one mini movie, and then it came out with Netflix's Baki series, which is a continuation from the original Grappler Baki series. So definitely check that out.
Cool, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, but yeah, man, that's all we got, y'all. So again, do keep a lookout, regular content in between here on the channel. Look, also keep a lookout for episode 2 of the podcast. Subscribe with notification bells on. If you haven't, check out the content we've already published here on the channel. And Skitty, if that's all you got, that's all I got, man. I'm signing off. Right, y'all? We catch y'all. It's been Skiddy and Lab here. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for giving us one a watch, y'all. Be easy.